Hello, my dear future doctors. I know this is the first time I'm meeting you all. This is my first video come session. So I'm really happy and excited to begin this. Going forward, actually, I have put some videos on reproduction, which was I tried putting few concepts and I saw a lot of love there in the comments. So I thought I can be a lot more regular in that. So I'm starting with grade 11. I have picked a beautiful topic which is diversity in living organisms. We'll do animal kingdom. Okay, I'll make it super easy for you. So trust me in this process. Yeah, so slowly we will complete grade 11 first, and then we'll move on to grade 12. And already you know that the channel name is zoology zone, right? So yes, of course I'll make you super strong with the zoology concepts. Yes, let us begin, and I'm super excited today. It's all about the basics of animal kingdom, and I know a lot of kids find a lot of difficulties, but I'm going to make it superb easy for you. And whatever doubts you have, feel free to put it in the comments, and I'm there to help you. And whatever questions you feel you need to know the answer, and why is that the particular answer? Also, I will explain in every session, so you can feel free to put your questions in the comments as well. Yes, I'm happy and I'm super energetic. So let's start Animal Kingdom. Okay, all right. So now, yes, my video is has become a little tinier. Okay, because our content should be the hero, right? So we are going to see the animal kingdom concept. Okay. So before beginning, children, I would like to brief you with something. Yeah, I know you had the basics in grade 9 CBSE. But let me tell you what we are exactly going to learn under animal kingdom so that it becomes very easy for you to understand. Okay. So diversity means, of course, you all know variety of living forms are there. Only when we group them and classify them, then we can easily learn them, correct? So that's why we have these kind of classification, right? So we are going to see the animal kingdom. Yes. Before saying that, children, what exactly are we going to learn under animal kingdom? That's a very big question mark, right? So let me tell you that. Mm, so under animal kingdom, so there is something called as chordates. Okay, the phylum, chordates and non-chordates. What are chordates? What are non-chordates? I will definitely tell you. All right. So now, chordates and non-chordates is what we are going to see. What is meant by chordates now? Okay, they have something called notochord, which is going to be the future vertebral column, and they have dorsal nerve cord. The nerve cord will be at the back side. Okay, nerve cord, notochord, and all we'll be learning in the due course of the session. And then they have ventral heart. Heart is located in the front side. Ventral is the front side, dorsal is the back side. So dorsal nerve cord, ventral heart, and they have pharyngeal gill slits, okay, for breathing. Whereas if you see the non-chordates, they do not have notochord. They have ventral nerve cord, okay. They have dorsal heart, and they do not have pharyngeal gill slits. Okay, so that is how they have grouped the animals under this animal kingdom. Now it's quick brush up, okay, brush up of concepts. So what are we going to learn under chordates and non-chordates? That I'll tell you now. So under non-chordates, if you see, we'll be seeing porifera, coelenterata, Ctenophora. Coelenterata is otherwise called Nidaria. Okay, Ctenophora. Then what else? Platyhelminthes. Then what? Annelida. Nematoda. Nematoda is otherwise called as Aschelminthes. Then Arthropoda. Mollusca. Then you have Echinodermata. And then Hemichordata. Okay. All this we will be learning under non-chordates. Okay. So under chordates, if you see, yes, just a minute. Non-chordates clear. Under chordates, if you see, children, we'll be seeing, there is this actually the subphylum under animal kingdom. If you see the subphylum, the phylum is chordates. Under that you have three subphylums, which is Urochordata, Cephalochordata, and then you have Vertebrata. Under Vertebrata, there are classes which we will be seeing, which is class Cyclostomata, class Amphibia, or else I'll go with the order. Pisces, which is fishes, Amphibia, Reptilia, Aves, and Mammalia. Okay, so this is what we are going to see under chordates. Clear? Non-chordates and chordates we are going to see. So children, how are they exactly classifying all these things? Some basis should be there, right? Some basis of classification. On what criteria they are classifying, they are grouping. So that basis of classification is what we are going to see. So I'll basically tell you what are the bases, okay? And then we'll see one by one. So first, if you see, there are so many things. The habitat, where do they live, whether land or water, and their habit whether they live as a colony or solitarily, those things comes under habit. So habitat, habit. Then we see about their level of organization, whether it is tissue level or cellular or organ system. So you know the hierarchy, right? Cell, tissue, organ system. So what level of organization, body organization they have. Then if you see, we'll be seeing about their body symmetry. Okay. So what happen if you divide their body, whether they become two equal halves or not, right? So that is symmetry. Then we see their body cavity, which we call coelom, whether they are coelomate or acoelomate or pseudocoelomate. Coelom means body cavity, whether they have or they do not have, or they have some false cavity in them. Cavity is basically the hollow space which accommodate the internal organs. And then the next one, if you see, germ layers, very important. Germ layers and body plan. I'll teach you in detail what is meant by germ layers. So, some might have two, some might have three. We will see that. Then important thing, segmentation. Okay, segmentation or metamerism. What is meant by that? Based on that also they are classified. Correct? Getting it, children? Apart from this, there are several other factors, whether they have, all those are little factors, whether they have notochord or not. Huh? What about their nerve cord, characters, right? And what about their digestive system, whether they have a complete or incomplete digestive system. What about their circulatory system, whether they have a open or closed circulatory system. All those tiny things. Okay, this is what we are going to exactly cover. Okay, slowly one by one we shall. Alright, so now let us go one by one. The very first criteria I told you is their habitat, right? What is meant by habitat now? Whether they are aquatic or terrestrial, right? Whether they are aquatic or terrestrial. Aquatic is water living, terrestrial is land living. So talking about aquatic, there are two sources, right? One, if you see, will be freshwater fishes. So you might have learned in your grade 9 some freshwater fishes like katla, rohu, mrigal and all. And then marine fishes. Talking about marine fishes, you can write if you want also. So freshwater fishes, if you see katla, rohu, mrigal, common carp is also there. Marine fishes like sardines, pomfret is there. Fish lovers might know it. And then you have the mackerel. And children, one important one mark which I would tell here, the neat perspective. Mackerel is omega 3 rich fatty acid, right? It has a lot of omega 3 fatty acid, which is very good for health, and that's one often asked one mark which you can mark it there. So now children, talking about this aquatic sources, here and there I'll be erasing it because I have a very small whiteboard there, right? So make a note of it, or else you can go back and also make a note of it. So talking about this aquatic thing, first the fresh water. So regarding fresh water, I have a few more points to add. So one good freshwater source is pond, right? So if you take the pond, of course you can divide it like this, correct? The surface, the middle zone and the bottom zone, right? Surface. So the surface feeder, middle zone feeder, bottom zone feeders and all you might have learned. So I'm calling this the surface, the topmost one. The middle one I'm calling it the column. The last one is said to be benthic. These are the zones. Okay, the one which is always there in the surface and only feeds in the surface, we call that to be surface feeders, right? They are the surface feeders. Surface feeders, you can give a name which is newstons. Okay, example is katla. Correct? Then if you see, take this one. Column feeders. Column feeders, you can call them nectons. Column feeders are called what? Nectons. Remember, it's the middle thing, so it's like a neck. Nectons. Nectons, good example will be rohu. The full name goes like this, labio rohu. Okay, and then the benthic feeders, we call them the benthos. Benthos, good example will be mrigal. Okay, children. Yes. So these things you have to note regarding the freshwater, that is the aquatic habitat, right? And regarding the marine, I told mackerel, which is rich in omega 3 fatty acid. You can make a note of that. Talking about terrestrial, ma'am, what should I know regarding terrestrial? So let me tell you three categories: cursorial, fossorial scansorial. Cursorial, write it down, they are the fast runners. For example, like cockroaches. Fossorial, the one which burrows like that of an earthworm. Scansorial, they possess the creeping movement, right? Creeping movement like a crocodile. Creeping movement, correct? So these are the information which you have to know regarding the habitat. So what about the habit now, the second one? So I am erasing all this off. Second one, if you see the habit, children, yeah, first one, colonial. That is, they live in colony like that of an honeybee, right? And then solitary. So solitary, when I teach the phylum, I'll tell you which is solitary, okay? As single, they live alone, right? And then I can say gregarious. What is gregarious now? Write it down. They live in groups, but they won't help each other. Like that of a locust, right? They live in group, but they won't help each other. Next, arboreal. They are tree lovers, right? Tree lovers like monkeys. Yeah, the monkeys, the sloth and all. And then the aerial. Aerial, of course, birds. Right? So this is regarding the, so here if you want, you can write the examples. Like monkeys and sloth, the birds and all. Right? This is regarding their habit. Shall we move on to the next one? The next level of classification, the criteria, which is level of organization. Okay, so this is basically number two, right? Habit. We are moving to number 3 now, which is level of organization. So talking about the level of organization, children, cellular. So let me write the levels first. Cellular level, tissue level, organ level, organ system. So if you see cellular level, only porifera will fall. Tissue level, coelenterata, otherwise called cnidaria, and ctenophora. And then the organ level, you just have platyhelminthes, which are flatworms. And then the organ system level, if you see, it starts with the rest, Annelida till chordates, Annelida, or Nematoda, Arthropoda, Mollusca, all of these things. Echinodermata, chordates, Annelida till chordates. Getting it, children? So this is regarding the level of organization. Yes. Moving on to the next classification criteria, which is the fourth one. So symmetry. First of all, there are two terms which you have to know. One is axis, one is plane, to understand this. Axis, I can say, is an imaginary line, central imaginary line. Plane is nothing but the surface after cutting, the surface available after cutting. Okay. So now there are three types here: asymmetric, symmetric, or I can say bilaterally symmetric, and so any plane passing through the central axis. So consider a body, which usually the shapeless ones like amoeba and all, if you see, if the plane, any plane is passing through the central axis, it will not divide the body into two halves. Write it down. Any plane passing through central axis, I'm just writing the key word here, you have to write it fully, will not divide the body into two equal halves. A good example for this will be porifera. And apart from that, there is one particular class under mollusca. Under mollusca, there is one particular class called gastropoda. Important neat question. Gastropoda is asymmetric, which includes all the snails. And then what is bilaterally symmetric? If a plane is passing through the central axis, a single plane passing through the central axis will divide the body into two equal halves. So the example of this will be from platyhelminthes itself, okay, till chordates. Okay. There is an exception here for bilateral symmetry, which is adult echinoderms, adult echinodermata. Why am I saying that's an exception? Because it comes under, pseudosymmetry. So this is basically not pseudosymmetry, radial symmetry, not false symmetry. Okay. This is radial symmetry. Asymmetric, bilaterally symmetrical, and radial symmetry. What is radial symmetry? Any plane passing through the central axis will divide the body into two equal halves. Any plane, at any angle, if you pass a plane through the central axis, right? All will give you two equal halves. Example for radial symmetry will be Coelenterata, Ctenophora, and adult echinoderms. Okay, very important. Adult echinoderms will possess radial symmetry. Okay, so I called it pseudo symmetry. That's wrong. It's radial symmetry. Okay. That's all. Symmetry is also done. 4 criteria we have seen so far. We'll move on to the next one. The 5th level of classification, which is nothing but germ layers, based on the germ layers and body plan. So what is meant by germ layers and body plan? Okay, let us see that. So talking about germ layers, children, you all know that the sperm and the egg fuses to form the zygote. Say suppose this is a zygote, it multiplies and become morula. Okay, so it will be roughly like this. That morula will multiply and become blastula. Roughly like this. Okay, that blastula will become gastrula. Right. So now this gastrula, if you see, will be like this. It has an opening. Okay. So basically it has germ layers, and this opening we call it blastophore lip. These are the germ layers we see. So the germ layers, GL for germ layers I am writing. So the inner one you call it endoderm. The undifferentiated middle part you call it mesoglia. Right. And when it becomes differentiated we call it mesoderm. And then the outermost we call it ectoderm. Okay. So now under germ layers there are two categories. One is diploblastic. Diploblastic means it just have endo and ecto. Only two layers, endo and ecto. They have meso, but the meso is undifferentiated, right? Which is mesoglia, or you can call it mesohyle, or you can call it meso. Let me write it here. Mesohyle. Okay. So diploblastic means it just have differentiated endo-ecto. That's all. It has mesoglia. Triploblastic means what? It has endoderm, mesoderm and ectoderm. So it has all three layers. That's why triploblastic. Okay. So what falls under diplo now? Diplo, good example will be Coelenterata and Ctenophora. If you ask me, ma'am, what about porifera? Porifera is reduced diploblastic. Okay, it's not complete diploblastic, it is reduced diploblastic. Okay. Triploblastic from platyhelminthes to all chordates. If you see, they are triploblastic in nature. Clear? Diplo and triplo. Now, let me tell you what is body plan. Body plan, if you see, children, there are two things. One, we call it blind sac. Another one, tube within tube. What is blind sac? It just has one opening for ingestion and egestion. Ingestion, egestion, intake and excretion, eliminating the waste happens through a single pore. That kind of an incomplete digestive system is called blind sac. Tube within tube, if you see, imagine there is a tube within a tube, like imagine we human beings. This outer tube is our trunk and we have an alimentary canal which is the inner tube. Right, tube within tube means there is a separate opening for mouth, two opening for ingestion and separate anus for egestion. Two openings. This is called tube within tube, which possesses a complete digestive system. Correct. Blind sac, tube within tube. So under tube within tube you have two classification. One is protostomate, another one is deuterostomate. Before saying what is proto and deuterostomate, let me finish the examples of blind sac, which has single opening for ingestion and egestion. Coelenterata, Ctenophora and platyhelminths. For tube within tube, if you see, you have yeah. So for that, let me give you the separate examples. Protostomate and deuterostomates you have, right? What is protostomate? During embryonic development, the mouth arises first. That is called protostomate. Okay. Example for protostomate, let me write it here. You can remember AAM, arm. Okay. AAM, which is Arthropoda, Annelida, Mollusca, even Nematoda also you can write. This is for protostomates. I repeat, Arthropoda, Annelida, Mollusca and Nematoda are examples of protostomate. For examples of deuterostomates, where the anus arises first during embryonic development, followed by mouth. Example will be Echinodermata and Hemichordata. Okay. So this is regarding the body plan. Clear, children? So let's move on to the next one, which is coelom. The body cavity is there, and also regarding segmentation we have to see. And the next one, coelom, right? The sixth one which we are going to see is coelom. Based on coelom, what is meant by coelom? Body cavity which accommodates the internal organ. It also acts like a shock absorber. Okay. So now there are three categories here. So I'm going to explain it with a diagram also. First is acoelomate without body cavity. Then pseudocoelomate. Then eucoelomate, means true cavity. Acoelomate, so let me draw it like this. So this will be ectoderm. This will be endoderm. And this entire central part is going to be mesoderm. So can you find any cavity here? This is ecto, this is meso, this is endo. There is no scope for cavity. So that is called acoelomate. Right? Acoelomate, example will be platyhelminths. Pseudocoelomate, false coelom, right? False body cavity. So how the layers would look like? So ecto is going to be like this. Endo is going to be like this. And meso is going to be like pouches like this. Pouches of mesoderm. So here and there you can find the cavity. So this is called pseudocoelomate. Best example for this is Nematoda. Nematoda can also be called as Aschelminths. Helminths means worms, okay? Aschelminths. Round worms we call them. Then eucoelomate means true coelom, children. What is true coelom now? It looks like this. So this is going to be ectoderm. And you can find a mesodermal split. So mesoderm will be here as well. And then this is endoderm, right? This is endoderm, right? So mesoderm will also be surrounding that. So from here till here, whatever is there is the cavity. Okay. You can see the cavity there. So if you want me to cut it and show it, say suppose I am cutting the edges, right? like this, making a cut here and here and expand. I'll show you how it will be. And this central thing, na children, if you're wondering what is this central thing is, that is the lumen of alimentary canal. Lumen of alimentary canal. Okay, the hollow space of the alimentary canal. You all know what is alimentary canal. Long tube from Outhalanus, right? Yes, so let me just show you this eucoelomate in a cut part. Eucoelomate. It will be like this. Say, if this is ecto, meso will be attached to this. So this is ectomeso. This is endo. This is meso. So you can see a meso split there. So this is the body cavity. Yeah, true cavity you can see here. Correct. So this part we call it parietal peritoneum. This part we call it visceral peritoneum. Inner, visceral means internal, parietal means external. Right? Another thing is, under eucoelomate there is two categories now. One is schizocoelomate, another one is enterocoelomate. What is schizocoelomate? In schizocoelomate, the body cavity is formed because of the mesodermal split. Okay, is full and fully formed because of the mesodermal split. Example for this will be, remember, arm, right? Annelida, Arthropoda and mollusca. Entero means the cavity has formed because of endodermal outpocketing. The endoderm has moved outward, right, which paves the way for a complete body cavity, right? So here you can write echino, hemichordata and chord. Okay. So that is regarding. So basically we say enterocoelom has embryonic gut pouches. What we say? Embryonic gut pouches. Okay. So that's regarding coelom. Finally, the last one, the important criteria, the last important criteria, if you see, is segmentation, right? Segmentation or metamerism. Children, what is the difference between segmentation and metamerism? When you say segment, of course, you all know, I can say segment means there are different segment blocks as such. So, if it is just external segment, you call it segmentation. But what is metamerism actually? So, there are two things which you have to remember. External segmentation should correspond to internal segmentation. What's the meaning? If it is externally divided, internally also exactly there is the same partition. Okay? It's not just external. Secondly, repetition of at least some organs. Some organ repetition should be there. Only then we call it metamerism. That too, eumetamerism. True metamerism. Okay? True metamerism. Getting it, children? Externally, if it is just segmented externally, you call it segmentation. Only when it is segmented externally and internally, you call it eumetamerism with at least a few repeating organs. Okay, examples of eumetamerism will be Annelida, Arthropoda and chordates. Right? And what is pseudo-metamerism now? They have, parts like proglottids, like in, wait, I'll let me write it. Pseudo-metamerism. Okay. Good example will be flatworms like Taenia solium. So platyhelminthes is a good example. Okay. So what do they have? They have structures, right? Proglottids. Okay. That's all. So these are the important criteria for classifying the animals into chordates, non-chordates, right? These are the criteria. And children, finally, basically these 8 levels, 8 criteria are the important ones. And the little ones which I told you, for example, ninth one, you can consider notochord. Notochord, if you see, basically this is what is going to become the future vertebral column. Okay. If you see the origin of notochord, it is mesodermal in origin. Very important one mark. Mesodermal in origin. Okay. So if you see in chordates, you have to just know this thing. In chordates, in non-chordates and hemichordates. In chordates, of course, notochord present. In non-chordates, it's absent. In hemichordates, you can find something called as stomochord. Okay. Then the next one, 10th one, talking about the nerve cord. Just know this thing. Regarding chordates and non-chordates. Nerve cord for chordates, if you see, of course, it's in the, for chordates, it's in the dorsal side, correct? Dorsal side. For non-chordates, it's in the ventral. So usually it will be ventral, double, solid. The meaning of double and solid, you will get to know. Here in chordates, it will be dorsal, single, non-solid. Okay. Yeah, children. Then what else? Circulatory and digestive system, which is very simple. If you take the circulatory system, some will have open circulatory system and some will have closed. What is meant by open and closed? Open means they don't have any blood capillaries, therefore blood pressure is not regulated there. Whereas in closed, blood capillaries will be there and blood pressure will be regulated. Open arthropoda is a good example. Okay, and then digestive system again. This is partially covered under this body plan, na? The blind sac and the tube within tube. So complete and incomplete, right? Tube within tube, if you see, they have two openings. It's a complete digestive system. Incomplete blind sac, right, where there is a single opening. So usually that forms an incomplete digestive system. So you can pick the examples from there. That's all. So these are few criteria, children, for classifying and grouping the animals. So hope you enjoyed. These are the basics. If you're thorough with the basics, then yes, everything becomes super easy. So let me just give you some homework questions and let me see whether you are putting it in the comment box. So the very first question which I can give you is based on today's lecture. So so I can get to know whether you were attentive or not. Yeah. So the first homework question which I would give like to give you is name few examples for deuterostomates. Okay. And secondly, uh, give examples for acoelomates and pseudocoelomate. So write the answer in the comment box. Okay, this is the question for you today. Just brush up all the basics. If you know all these criteria, then whatever phylum they are giving you, it becomes super easy. Trust me, trust me. Okay, hope you all enjoy. So we'll catch up in another session. Bye bye, tata, take care.